Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're listening to That Infernal Noise, now part of the Mental Health News Radio Network.
For the greatest, here to stay and I ain't trying to be the latest. I've been winning, got me feeling so amazing, and I'm out to kill this game like I'm a shooter out in Vegas. Yeah, better back before you go goose. I've been tying up ends, none of those loose. That means I'm hanging everybody that's a strong loose. You trying to stop my shit, well then you're fucking with the wrong dude. I'm the one doing the most amongst peers, with the bottle and the gun, possibly a beer. Stone cold as I sell them every gear. Houdini, cause I am here, but I'm watching them disappear. Troubleshooting, we ain't talking about computers. Still a king and we ain't talking Martin Luther. Got my middles up and ready to salute ya. You wanna win this game, well then you better find the shooters. You ain't even get the point, I'm the center of the universe, still making them remember. Bitch, I'm colder than the Rockies in December. Total package when I enter, won't return me back to sender. So you better think before you act foul. Matter of fact, you need to really back down, cause it's doper than a fucking crack house. I don't wanna hear that fucking garbage from your trash mouth. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. Grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. I am grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. Yeah, because I'm feeling myself. Grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. Grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. I ain't grabbing on my dick because I'm feeling myself. Let's go. You don't wanna battle, I am not the one. In a fucking minute, all y'all will be done. Looking at a rocket, I am shooting up. Middles to the masses, I don't give a fuck.
God, I love that song. Big shout out to my homeboy Claas. That track is Feeling Myself. If you haven't done so yet, follow him on all social media at I am Claas. And if you haven't picked up his new album, bundle, and all that good shit, please go to gorehop.com and pick that shit up because it is dope as fuck. Now on with the show. Today I want to talk about making amends. Here lately in my life, with the past year of therapy and medication as well, I have gotten to a point in my life where I feel like I need to not necessarily apologize to people, but definitely to make amends and at least make an effort to clear the air. I've obviously done it with my wife. I've done it with my kids, taking personal accountability with my shortcomings as a dad once upon a time. And I still have them, obviously, but it's more to do whenever the older two was... It has more to do with the older two and when they were little. And I admitted to myself and to them that I was not the best father, that I was very self-centered, that I was more concerned about my career or what I wanted to do musically or creatively or partying or whatever than I ever was about actually being a parent. I spent so long telling everybody that my kids were my world and living that, I don't want to say facade, because it wasn't a facade. My kids did mean the world to me at that point too. But I still wasn't living up to the potential that I should have been as far as being a dad. And I had very frank and honest conversations with Chris and Kaylee about it. Just explaining, look, I know things weren't right at that point. The situation being what it was between Mandy and I, the fights that they had to hear, us constantly partying or having people over, or just being drunk in front of them in general. And Kaylee even brought it up that, whenever we were hanging out with all of our friends, they couldn't even go outside at that point. And it's something I didn't think about, but it's 100% true. So the kids would be in the house playing and we'd all be outside doing whatever. And I didn't spend time with them. Kaylee also brought the point up that, even when you were there, it's like you weren't. Because I was just in a shitty place in my life. It wasn't terrible, don't get me wrong, and it's not just the relationship or anything like that. It was all of the things that I had built up over the 20 plus years at that point, to where I couldn't sit with my thoughts. I didn't even know how to at that point. I would always be elsewhere mentally, if not actually elsewhere, trying to dull or just completely get rid of the pain. And I know that's a misnomer, because it never got rid of anything. Honestly, it made everything worse. That's why I'm glad I'm fairly sober now, because I don't want my brain to do that flip thing that it does. And since I got sober, with a few slips here and there, obviously, but no fights, no nothing. There was no flip, so I'm able to control it, I guess, or at least handle it better, or whatever, which I'm sure comes also with the therapy and the medication. But since I was able to stop drinking the way that I was, I have gained this new clarity in life, and I just realize the wrongs that I've done. And not that I didn't know before, but before it was more of a like, well, it's over, it's done with, I can't do anything about it, fuck it. And to a certain extent, that's always true, but I've gotten to a place now where I feel the need to have serious conversations with people that I've legitimately wronged. People that I claimed to love the most, as in my grandparents, my kids, my mom, and definitely exes. Two in particular come to mind. One of them I was married to, the other one I was not. But Mandy and I had a serious conversation where I put it all on the table, and I told her, look, this is just something I need to get off my chest. I don't know if I've ever done it. I'm pretty sure I have, but if I've never said it, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry everything played out the way that it did. And it's not a reconciliation thing or anything like that. She's one of my best friends at this time. I wouldn't trade my relationship with her for anything. So I don't even know if it needed to be done. But from my perspective, I felt like I needed to explain it to her. Well, not explain it, but just tell her what I was thinking. And just like, look, I'm sorry. Shit was fucked up. I was a kid. That doesn't excuse it. The alcohol doesn't excuse it. The various pill usage doesn't excuse it. And I know that. I absolutely know that. But I felt the need to express it and just put everything on the table. And if she had anything to say, she was more than welcome to say it. And, we ended up having a really good conversation about it, because she said thank you and that she appreciated it. And from there, we talked about how different our lives are now as opposed to then whenever we split up. She's unbelievably happy with Gabriel. She's one of my best friends. He's one of my best friends. The four of us, being the four parents, are closer than we've ever been. And I just told her, and she voiced the same, that, we were proud of each other, that it's nice to see us in this light and not have that hate and that anger and that vitriol that we had for each other once upon a time. And I know not every relationship's exactly the same. Never is. And it's very hard for me to sit here and say, oh, well, everybody should do this. Everybody should make amends and try to mend fences and whatever the fuck else you want to say. And I know that's not possible for everybody. Because unfortunately, there is some things you can't apologize for. And I felt that there were some things that went down in our relationship that I couldn't apologize for, but just know that I do feel bad about it. I am sorry that you had to go through it. Whatever. And not even looking for an apology back, just explaining that I'm not the same person that I was then. And the person that I am now recognizes that you were put through hell the same way I felt like I was. And of course, it's all up to interpretation and people's opinions and how they perceive things. But it was nice. It was really, really nice. You know, all this time I've felt like, well, not all this time, up until the past year or so, I've always felt like I was behind the 8 ball. Like I was never going to be able to make up for anything I've ever done, for anybody I've ever wronged or wasn't there for, or whatever. And that's not the case. I agree sometimes the past needs to be dead and buried, but the way that I am, I feel personally that I spent so much of my life claiming responsibility, but not actually taking responsibility when I should have. Not unlike what I was talking about with the kids. And I feel like this is my way of atoning. Not to indemnify myself or to make, not just to make myself feel better. Because yes, it does make me feel better, but it's not about that. It's about making sure I did everything to know that I have a clear conscience now. And I can't right all the wrongs. I can't tell people how I feel for various reasons. Some are not here anymore. Some are around, but not really. And I've also had to figure out how to let go of things whenever I felt like I was wronged or somebody took advantage of me or whatever the case was. And that part's not easy either. Having to put myself out there to apologize, not knowing if the person is going to be reciprocating or even acknowledging what's going on. Or not what's going on, but what I'm saying or what I'm trying to do or whatever. And I feel like it's like 12 steps kind of thing. I never went through it, but I know one of them is that you have to make amends. And I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to be honest with everybody and just putting it out there. If you want my opinion, it's here. If not, okay. I see where I stand as far as it goes with you and your life. And I've stopped putting myself out there so much. And instead of doing that, I've, I guess, become more reclusive, but not in a hermit type way. I've become more guarded in who I let into my life or occupy headspace or whatever. I put effort towards people that put effort towards me now. And I've put everything on the table with everybody. This is how I feel. If you don't dig it, if you don't like it, whatever, that's on you. Not that you're not justified in your opinion, but that's how I feel, and I don't see anything changing that unless you actively change your behaviors. And I know that sounds really high and mighty of me, almost like a holier than thou thing, but I think that's the Catholic guilt I grew up with. Because it's not coming from a place of superiority, it's a place of understanding. Like, I understand the things that I've done in my life. I'm trying to make them right. Not just by making amends with people, but by living my life better. By not repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Which in and of itself is hard because you have that ingrained in your head from whatever age you develop said habit or mindset or whatever. And it's been a arduous journey this past year. Not only understanding how my brain works, but just figuring out who I am and who I want to be around and what I want to associate with and all of that. I realized I actually hate toxicity. Because we always used to joke that we all thrive in chaos, but I don't like chaos. Fucking hate it. I've been in it the majority of my life. There's been countless times and countless stories of just crazy shit that most people would look at and just be like, whoa. And I know that because we were at a comedy show a couple of weeks ago. We being Niche, myself, Mandy, and Gabriel. And we were sitting front row. And the touring comedian just looked at us. He was like, oh, how do you guys know each other? And all four of us are just like, ah, shit. And we have to explain the situation. We're like, okay. She's my wife, pointing to Niche. He's my best friend from high school. And she's my ex-wife. And she's also my best friend. And I'm like, what? Like, how many kids do y'all have? And we're like, we have 4. And they're the parents of the other 3, of the older 3. They're just like, what? And I told the comedian in no uncertain terms, I was just like, our life's an episode of Jerry Springer. I don't know what you want. And the 4 of us just died laughing about it because people don't understand. People don't get it. But I wouldn't trade that for anything. I love it. I love that it weirds people out so much. And it's just like, oh my God, wait, y'all are together at a comedy show? Y'all are together at whatever performance or whatever, family function, take your pick. We've been on vacation together, like, all of it. And it's really cool. But it wouldn't have happened if the 4 of us hadn't swallowed our pride and just been like, look, this is what it is. This is not changing. We need to find a common ground here. It was us making amends with each other. Because everybody felt some kind of way about something at that point, and none of us were talking about it. And that did not help the situation whatsoever. Because we all had our negative feelings, and I'm not surprising anybody by saying Nisha and I talk shit about them, and they talk shit about us. And we have talked about that. Because we understood, or we understand now where we were then, and where we are now has nothing to do with then. We've all evolved to more level-headed people, to more caring people, to where we have empathy for each other, which usually in the divorce situations and the step-parent situations, that's not there whatsoever. But we understand each other because we took the time to talk it all out. And that's what I'm trying to do in certain other relationships that I've had over the years. I've already made amends with my children. And I've already told them everything, just everything, period. I don't keep secrets from my kids. I tell them just how big a piece of shit daddy was. Some people would advise against that because they're supposed to see you as this indomitable figure and yada yada, and I just don't agree with that. I think the problem with our generation, being the 30-somethings, early 40-somethings, is that everybody acted like they were perfect. And we didn't get to see the weakness. We didn't get to see the struggle. And not that my kids see all my struggle, but they do know that I struggle. I try to tell them just how hard it is, just being a human being, much less being a parent or a husband or anything else. And yeah, that may end up jading them too early, but I want to show them that it's okay to admit you make mistakes. It's okay to say, hey, I screwed this up and I just want to apologize. Not for your peace of mind, not for my peace of mind, but just because it's the right thing to do. Because so many of us just dismiss everybody else because it's not what we think. And I'm trying my best not to do that anymore. There are certain situations that I'm probably never going to get over. There's certain situations that I'm never going to get closure on because it's quite literally impossible. So instead, I'm taking advantage of what I can do and putting myself out there the way that I feel like I should. In the past year, I've done it with my mom, and our relationship has gotten better. I've done it with my grandparents and explained to them, exactly how I've felt and the things that I think. And our relationship didn't get worse. I've done it with my wife, and our relationship has only gotten so much stronger. I've done it with my kids, and I just feel so much more bonded to them now because of that. Because it's not easy for me to put myself out here or out there or whatever. I kind of have to force myself to do it because I've spent so long holding everything in and internalizing everything that it's almost a foreign concept to me. And I see Chris and Kaylee do some of the same stuff, and Noe and Logan, of course, too. And that's why I try to have those conversations with them, as uncomfortable as it may be for me. And as uncomfortable it may be for them, I still feel like I need to get that out. So they know that their dad is human, that it's okay to falter, that it's okay to feel like shit. It's okay to admit whenever you're wrong, whenever you've wronged somebody. Because that's what we as adults should do. We should take ownership of not only the trauma we have, but the trauma we've caused. And I know I'm no saint in that department. I am painfully aware of that. But luckily, that noise isn't as loud as it once was. I can actually get through my day without, there's no other way to say it. I can get through my day now without thinking about blowing my face off. And therapy helped me with that. The medication, the mood stabilizer helps me with that. And I was staunchly against it, like I've said before on this. But it truly did work. It worked for me. Some people find God and find solace in that. Some people find other religions and find solace in that, or group sessions, or whatever. And no matter what you do to cope, if it works, it works. That's the thing that matters. And how I'm coping now is taking ownership. Admitting when I was wrong. And at least reaching out to try to mend a couple of fences. Am I expecting to get calls, texts, or messages back? Not really. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, okay. I've made peace with both scenarios. Because I can't expect anybody to react the way that I would. Because if somebody came to me and poured their heart out, or just put everything on the table and like, look, this was wrong, yada yada, I'd at least listen to them. But I can't expect that from everybody. Nor do I. Because everybody is entitled to their reaction. Everybody's entitled to feel however they want to feel about any given situation. And yeah, part of me worries about it a little bit. Because I've never wanted anybody to hate me or look at me in a negative light or whatever. I always want everybody to be like, oh, he's a solid dude. You can count on him, or at least know where the fuck he's coming from, or whatever. It just goes to further the fact that I just want to be a good person. I don't want to be stressed out about, oh, well, you got drunk and did this dumb shit and offended this person, or whatever else. It's like, oh, you got fucked up and cheated on your wife. Again, not niche. This is previous. I don't want to be that dude anymore. I didn't really want to be then, but I felt like something was missing, and I didn't know, no pun intended, how to fill that hole. Okay, maybe it was intended just a little bit, but I figured it out now. What's missing, what was missing, is me taking ownership for everything. Because as much as I did, I also didn't. And I'm glad that I found an outlet for that I can practice being a good person. As weird as that is to say. Because some of us don't have a lot of experience with it. Some of us have been the assholes their entire life. Or had to be. But not all of us want to stay the asshole. Some of us want to get better. Some of us want to change for the better. To make the world a better place. As grandiose as that sounds. And instead of worrying about what the future holds, I've taken to worrying about the here and now. How do I feel in this moment? Okay, I feel like I need to do this. Okay, I do that. I know that sounds very overly simplistic, but that's just what I do now. If I start having dreams about somebody, I'll message them. If I start having feelings about somebody, I'll say something. Happened not that long ago. And I seem to surprise people every time something like that happens. Like, how the hell did you know? Like, I don't know. I just did. I don't think I'm psychic or anything, per se. I just think I'm more connected than a lot of other people. Or more observant, I guess. Or something. I don't know. Maybe I am fucking psychic. Who knows? I really like the person I've become. I really like the direction my family's going. The people that I have around me are going. And I'm positive. I didn't even think that was possible. Because I've been negative 30 plus years of my life. But now I'm looking forward to things. I'm planning things. I want to accomplish things. And that may not sound like a big deal to a lot of people, but it's a big deal to me. So if I had to surmise all this shit, I would say take responsibility. Whatever that may mean to you, just take responsibility. Could it mean mending fences and repairing damaged relationships? Or even just putting all the cards out on the table to not necessarily repair them, but just to clear it from your conscience or to remove it from the bandwidth in your head. Any way you slice it, it's a benefit. I hope this helps somebody, because I always feel this overwhelming catharsis once I get done with my therapy or doing a podcast. I guess just because I actually open up and I let things out as opposed to just trying to internalize them. Good things are coming if you put good things out. It's your responsibility either way. Be good to yourself, but more importantly, be good to each other. Later, guys.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you like the show or know somebody who would, please subscribe and share to help us grow the show. You can follow us on all socials at That Infernal NPC. You can listen on YouTube and Podbean at That Infernal Noise or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Please tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.